Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, are you guys ready to embrace the fact that you are the one you've been waiting for? I know I am. Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. This is the third book in the Shaman Heart series, you guys, and it is called We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For. This is a very special project. The group of authors really took it on another level to not only walk their walk of healing work, self-development work, but many of us gathered for a world-changing trip to Peru with our leaders. And I have a lot to say about how other level this project was. The book is. I cannot wait for you to have your hands on a copy of it. But there's a big thank you to say before I introduce these authors to you today. And that is to our leaders, Stephanie Urbina Jones, Jeremy Pager, and Jorge Luis Delgado. Jorge was part of guiding our trip to Peru for this author's journey. Stephanie and Jeremy, we wouldn't be here without you. You had a ginormous mission and vision for the entire Shaman Heart series and how you wanted that to curate a community that was walking their walk as they shared their stories and their master teachings. I have so much gratitude for you guys. So excited about sharing this project with the world. So let me introduce to you the authors in my Zoom room. Bradford W. Tilden is a best-selling author, composer, master sound healer, and universal white time healing teacher, helping people to find meaning and purpose through inspiration, education, and activation toward true spiritual awakening and authentic divine expression. Dr. Tiffany McBride is here. She's a doctor of shamanic psychospiritual studies, licensed clinical psychotherapist, trauma recovery guide, expressive artist, and best-selling author. Through their business at Holistic Vibrations, they integrate altered states of consciousness and holistic remedies to support healing from trauma, addiction, and spiritual disconnection. Dr. Ruth Souther is here. She's a metaphysical practitioner, multi-book author, Reiki practitioner, master breathwork facilitator, hypnotherapist, and founder of Vegas Path Spiritual Studies. She's also the co-founder of Alchemy Priestess, where she helps you recreate your personal story. I love reading your guys' bios. We were joking before we started the recording about the bios. And y'all don't brag about yourself enough, honestly. So I love reading those lists of things that you are, because to me, that says you dedicated your life to this. And what an honor it is to be here with you guys today. And I'm so grateful that you're a part of this project. Ruth, you're going to start the party off today. Take a minute to introduce your chapter and give us a little bit of the why behind it.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm so thrilled to be here. And my chapter is Chapter 5, Soul Return, When Past Lives Collide. And being a metaphysical practitioner, as I am in Springfield, Illinois, this was a particularly important chapter for me to write, as I do a lot of that work with hypnosis, giving people the opportunity to go back and heal and find those pieces that they are not drifted off. They are simply hidden through trauma. So we regain a lot of the energy from that when we do a soul return.
So what was it like for you in Peru, knowing about what you do and how you help people? What was that experience like for you?
Holy cow. Okay, so the vibrations coming up through the ground were just incredible. I had a lot of problems with my knee and had a lot of wonderful support with people helping me climb those mountains. By the way, there is nothing flat in Peru, anywhere, anytime. the whole idea, though, based in Peru and their whole indigenous culture, is alien life form. And to me, I could see that. I could feel that vibration that these ancient roots did not come from Earth, they came from the stars. That was really Earth, not shattering, but it was certainly Earth gripping to me.
Has it informed that experience informed the way you've helped people since you got back? I would imagine so.
Absolutely, yes, right. It was as clear to me as anything I've ever done that people can call their soul pieces back, even from other planets, from other areas out in the celestial world, which I hadn't really worked with too much until I came back from Peru.
Well, like, why do I want to call a piece back? What's important about that?
A piece of your soul has gone missing because you've had some sort of trauma in your life that has caused it to go behind a wall, let's say, easily to say, like, walled off. And it is your job to find that heartbeat, to find that little part of you that really wants to be called home. It's a healing process that, like no other, that when you can actually go in there and claim that that part of your soul, your life, that part of your life was so awful that you had to let it go. We go in there and reclaim that, and then we make ourselves whole within our heart and our body and our mind. It truly is a healing practice like no other.
So, um, I'm totally grilling Ruth about this because it makes me so curious. But okay, so I call it back, but then what? So what? Like, what, how does it show up in my life? One I get it, Ruth, but I want people to have never even heard of this idea to understand what's in store for them when they call that piece back.
Okay, let's say, for instance, you were a child and something really dreadful happened to you and you didn't want to remember it. So you just stopped. Many times people come in and they'll go, I don't remember being a child. I don't remember anything past a certain age. So there's a piece of them that has gotten put away. So we would go through hypnosis back to that time where they can actually face to face meet that child, watch what happened, reclaim it, and then pull that little child out and bring it back into their own body. So it is a somatic response to soul healing. So that little girl then becomes part of them again, and never will experience the tragedy that happened to them. So they're removed. It's harder to describe in words like this, but what it does every day is, like, for instance, I can't have a relationship. Something really bad happened. Now they can go forward and have relationships because they've resolved and healed that particular trauma.
Thank you for that example. I think that that's just, it helps people with like the real life why behind why you would want to be curious about healing modalities like this, maybe that you've never heard of. And believe me, you guys, we've only talked to one of these three amazing people today so far, and just get ready because these are the practitioners who, again, they've dedicated their entire lives to understanding the healing process, mind, body, soul, spirit, and beyond, as you heard from our trip to Peru and experience with the aliens. You see that little mascot I have back on my shelf back there? Yeah, there's a reason that he stands there. Um, Ruth, thank you, not just for saying yes and being a part of this, but thanks for being here today too and sharing your heart with us.
You're welcome.
Bradford, take a minute to introduce your chapter now and give us a little bit of your why.
Sure thing. I'm Bradford Tilden, and I am Chapter 22, Mastery of Past Lives, How to Accelerate Your Conscious Awakening. And, well, this is an unprecedented time for human evolution. And many of us, they're clearing the channel here because I do not work alone. All my guides have been stacked up and waiting to come in. Many of us came here with very specific objectives to assist humanity as a whole to raise in frequency and expand consciousness and heal the collective trauma through individual work and contribution. I am one of those people, and my whole life has been a discovery of that fact. And I have unearthed the truth that I had attained all of this mastery level skill in past lifetimes, specifically for crystal healing. When I was 26 years old, I knew three different stones: amethyst, quartz, and rose quartz. After taking a class, like all of this information just came through from my own previous experience and study in past lives. And it all concentrated around the civilization of ancient Lemuria and the very special quartz crystals called Lemurian sea crystals. That through my exploration, I've discovered that I was in a past life, one of the people that created them to be of assistance at this time. So my message is that we carry this knowledge within us. Much like Ruth was talking about the trauma and the reclaiming the separation, there's also the opening up and accessing the higher information of your positive past lives, of the work that you've attained, to bring it all to this present moment, to bring forth and to contribute to accelerate the growth of our species and this planet and all life on this planet, and actually in the universe when you really go into the deep metaphysical truths of it all. So
I'm going to back up to what you said about, they're all stacked up behind me, ready to send the message. And it's interesting because I did an interview before you guys where this topic came up about like your guides are all around you all the time. And, Bradford's very connected to his, and they're like lining up to help with these messages. But Bradford, for somebody who isn't as in touch with theirs, what do you want them to know about that team they have?
your team is excited, loving, compassionate, patient, understanding, and willing to assist you in any way that you ask. It took me a long time to accept and acknowledge maybe just one guide. I would have these physical sensations of tingling, and I thought it was interesting. Hair on the back of my head, tingling of my crown. And I had no idea what it meant. Now I come to understand that it's one of many guides who are just brushing my aura with their vibration, with their light, giving me signals to follow my intuition. The guides are not able to interact unless you ask them to. There's a universal law of non-interaction because we here on Earth are meant to grow and explore the free will, to make the decisions, to take the actions. No one is going to do it for us. Our guides are not going to do it for us. We have to grow in our sovereign expression of our authenticity and authority as an embodied divine being in the physical. So our guides are here to support us. Even if you don't think you have guides, every person, every human who's born on Earth has at least one guardian angel. And it depends all upon the life mission that your soul has designed for you to experience at this time.
If you all are listening to this interview series, you're going to hear a theme here about you have to ask if you want help. This was something I didn't learn until much later in my life. And I'm going to ask this to you, Bradford, too. Like, I will write my requests, and I will also speak my requests out loud. Is either more powerful? What do you suggest?
Both. I mean, there's no reason not to. I say them silently, I write them down, I meditate, and then I trust and I believe, and I let them go. I like to write them down and then burn them and let the smoke disperse the wishes into the universe as a ritual. Yeah, or program them into crystals and pick up the crystal and just project and reiterate the ideas and have the crystal amplify to bring them out into manifestation. Yeah.
Did anyone else chuckle about the amethyst when he said it? Like, my favorite of all time is the purple. It's like all around me all the time. But you guys know Atlantis. I think some of you know Atlantis. She gave me the blue frog one day, and I'm like, right? Like, you got to love the blue frog. I'm sorry to those of you who are only listening and can't see my blue frog right now. Yeah, nice. Bradford, thank you so much for just who you are in the world and for being here today to share with everyone.
Thank you.
Tiffany, take a minute to introduce your chapter. Give us your why.
Yeah, so my chapter is chapter 6, and it's unveiling your inner shaman, following the sacred breadcrumbs on your path. And my why? Well, so I'm an integrative psychotherapist, so I take clinical and I take the alternative and we combine them. And one of the things that I specialize in is this non-ordinary states of consciousness. And why I love non-ordinary states of consciousness is it bypasses fear and trauma to get to the truth of who you are, what your authentic power is. And this takes time sometimes. And it takes a lot of practice and patience and trusting in the signs or the synchronicities or the dreams or anything that's coming and nudging you, that small voice within you. And I really want people to know that they have the access within themselves to find their own answers to their own life and to step into their power and live from that place. Especially right now, we really want to listen to who we are, what our truth is around all the fear that's happening in the world. It's really important that we have a clear answer of who we are and meant to be in this world. So that was my why.
I love your why. I'm going to back you up to non-ordinary states of consciousness. And everybody in this room can have this conversation, by the way. So that sometimes, though, I feel like I want people to understand what's possible in terms of accessing these things you hear people talk about, and you're like, oh, I can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. So I want to ask Tiffany about what are you talking about in terms of non-ordinary states of consciousness? Are there several, and what are they called?
There's so many ways to access non-ordinary states of consciousness. Um, it, we go into trances, right? When we're driving down the road, sometimes we're like, wow, that was only an hour. And because you've gone into this non-ordinary state of consciousness. And we can do that in so many ways. So like meditation, I have a meditation that I include in this chapter. Shamanic breath work or any type of breath work, plant medicine. There's so many things that you can do to access this non-ordinary state of consciousness. Hypnosis, EMDR is something I'm trained in, and it's wonderful. It's absolutely a magic tool. There's just so many different things that I could probably talk about with non-ordinary states of consciousness. But it literally bypasses that ego of fear. And we get to that small voice when we can get into that state. I hope that answers it.
So I've heard of the hypnagogic state. Am I saying that right? Right. This place that so for me, sometimes I'm half awake and I'm half dreaming, and there's this state of consciousness in the morning where I'm not quite in either place, right? And some magical things happen in that state of consciousness. So that's another example for you guys. But I actually also want to make a point that I don't think you're talking about anything that requires drugs right now. Yeah. So so that's fine. Like in this healer group, we talk about ayahuasca a lot, and we talk about all these things you can do and all these just crazy, amazing experiences. But when I first started doing breath work, I realized very quickly that I could get to a place pretty magical without having to take anything. What do you want to tell people about that, Tiffany?
Yeah, we're so amazing as human beings. Like, we have access to a lot of inner resources where we don't have to take any kind of altered substance. Shamanic breathwork was one of the things for me that was like, wow, I can literally go in, listen to erotic music, breathe, and get answers to my life. And then I could come out and be normal in the world. And so you don't have to. There's so many things, like even music, music healing, that will bring you into this other state of consciousness as well. Like we have so many different resources. I think that the thing is that people don't know that we have these resources, or they don't know that that's what that is that, oh, we're going into this place of intuition, into our joy or into our peace. That is when we're in that altered state.
I love it. These topics we could talk about all day long. These are so juicy. Tiffany, thank you for saying yes to this and for being here today.
Thank you.
All right, let's carry it on with this big question. It's really the theme of the book. So when we embrace the idea that we are the ones we've been waiting for, that journey is very unique to each one of us. Bradford, give me an idea of what that's meant for you personally.
For me, personally, it's been a real challenge because every I feel like I'm always at the forefront of the frontier of my own discovery. I have never met I've never seen a precedent for what I do. I am a way shower, I am a path forger. And the confidence and the trust and the faith that I'm getting emotional that it's taken for me to walk this path, to light the path for others to follow. It's been the most challenging and most rewarding experience I can ever ask for. And I just want to make it more accessible and enjoyable for others to know that there is great joy and abundance and magic when you believe beyond the limitations of the third dimension, and you believe beyond your current lifetime, that you have this incredible ancestry, a soul ancestry, but also a genetic ancestry. And the two of those combined create this alchemical opportunity for transformation that enters into the Akashic record for others to access. And it's just phenomenal of the belief and the possibility as we are becoming creator beings, creating and co-creating this new world together. That's what's happening right now.
They say your why makes you cry, right? I love listening to Bradford right in smack in the middle of his why. And I also love what you said about believing beyond. I wanted to add the sentence, believe beyond everything you've been taught. Like, really, like question everything, right? Thank you, Bradford, so
You're
much
welcome.
for answering that personal question. Tiffany, I'm coming to you next on this one. Like, what has it meant for you personally to be the one you've been waiting for?
I've dedicated my whole, pretty much half my life, 20 years, into finding the answers for myself. And so before I was a shaman, I had to learn that I had to heal a lot of things to step into that role. And what a shaman is really a wounded healer. It's the one that has done their work and has gone through their healing to become a light into this world because they've gone through it. And so I have done a lot of healing in the last 20 years. Like it's it has been my life. Like I am dedicated to healing myself so that I can help other people heal and that they can live in their authenticity. I used to be so broken and so timid and not confident. I had self-doubt. Even when I was called into shamanism 10 years ago, I was like, what is that? How am I even going to be? What? Me? No. And I had to really work on that through my healing work and my journey and going into these non-ordinary states of consciousness. And so I have a really, really big heart for this work because it has worked for me. And by following my intuition, by following those breadcrumbs, the dreams, the synchronicities, the signs, this little tiny voice that you hear, I have led my life in a way that's for me. I don't have anybody dictate what I do, and I get to live the dream I want. Like if I want to have a dream or if I want to rebuild a dream, I'm like, okay, let's do it, because I'm able to listen to myself and be guided by that power within. So I want that for everyone. I want everyone to feel that freedom and to know that they can be free in that sovereignty and know that they have an intuitive voice that knows where they need to go.
That freedom is palpable, right? Thank you. Okay, Ruth, for you personally, what has it meant to be the one you've been waiting for?
It is an acknowledgement of being here on this earth. When I was a kid from a teeny tiny little town, I kept thinking, well, who am I? Who am I? I don't have any big city experience. I don't know how to live large. I've never even been out of the state of Illinois. And I realized at some point in my life, none of that matters. Zero zippola matters where you come from. It is the idea that, yes, I am here and I am taking my steps forward in my life, both in healing, but also in education and sharing and doing all of that. So I am the one I've been waiting for, and I always have been. And I wish everybody out there would understand you are so unique. There is no one like you. There is no one who will ever be like you again. And so, yes, you are the one. I am the one. And when I stepped into that honest discussion with myself and said, okay, what does it matter? What does it matter where you are? It is standing right in this present moment, stepping forward and claiming my own truth and my own power and going, I don't need to be like anybody else. I just need to be like me. And so I was going to point out these, I have all these nesting dolls behind me because I collect them from all over the world when I'm there. It's like stripping that away. You pull them apart, you find another piece. You pull another apart, oh my God, there's more. And you just keep pulling apart till you find that little nugget in the middle and you're like, oh, why didn't I know that about myself this whole time? Because I am that doll in the center. I am that one. So that's what I encourage everybody to do. Strip the layers away and realize that you actually have everything you need right now. Step into healing, step into power, step into understanding that what you share, even a little smile at the grocery store, can change someone else's life. And that's why I'm the one I've been waiting for.
That little nugget in the middle. Yes, we all are. That little golden nugget in the middle. I love that visual. So, huge thank you to all three of you for stepping up in your chapters. You guys, this book is, the challenge was to write a vulnerable, real story about who they were and what got them to this place that they are now. And so those stories are brilliant, you guys. But then you're stepping up in the second part of these chapters with your master teachings in the medicine section. And so you're going to give the reader a chance to have an experience with a practice, a modality, some piece that you all used, right, that they can use in the book. And this book is such a gift for that. So if y'all are getting excited about hearing, these authors talk about their experiences, you're about to be able to have these experiences and really practice with us in this community. It's a huge thing to me, a huge gift. I want to finish with this question that relates a little bit to your topics in your chapters. Tiffany, I'm going to start with you. What's the most important thing you want people to know about those sacred breadcrumbs?
They come in pieces and in time and time. So we may only get a little tiny piece of a puzzle of a bigger picture, but we're like, what is this? And we won't understand maybe at the time, but give it time because it will continue to get little pieces, and they come in so many different forms. I talk a lot about my dreams and some visions I have in my chapter, but we have them everywhere. Numbers, feathers, animals. If you just notice, if you just listen, you can see them. So little tiny breadcrumbs, little tiny pieces, but as you keep picking up those pieces and putting them together, they start to build into this bigger picture. And eventually it will make sense. So that's what I have to say about that.
You're giving me the idea of starting a sacred breadcrumbs journal. I think I'm just going to put them all in there in one place so that I can watch that happen. I love it. I love that. I love the sacred breadcrumbs. Okay, so Ruth, for you, what's the most important thing you want people to know about soul return?
That once you feel completely whole, there's nothing can stop you. Absolutely nothing. That once you step into those truths that you have hidden away in your recesses of your life and your mind and your heart, that once you take control of that, it just opens up everything for you. And one of the things I did want to mention to the listeners is this: you never know when and you never know where that little nugget is going to appear, and you're like, oh my God, that is me. That is who I am. Mine was face down in a crop circle in Peru. Holy shit. With Bradford playing his crystal bowl and singing some worldly song that I've never heard before. And I'm like, oh my God, here I am. Who would have thought it? Because I have so much experience in all of this work that I bypassed my own nugget. So step in wherever it is, acknowledge it, understand it, whatever is flitting around, ready to be revealed, it's the time for you to own it. And it will heal you from head to toe in many ways you've never even experienced or thought of.
I love listening to that story. I resonate with the words, oh, here I am. Like that's a moment of knowing who you are. I love the way that you describe that. Okay, Bradford, the most important thing you want people to know about accelerating that conscious awakening.
It is a fertile, we're in a fertile energy sort of pocket, and the resources are here. The sound healing, the crystal healing, the meditation, everything is increased in its speed and effectiveness because of where we are actually in the universe, being received this really high vibrational beam of energy from the galactic core. We're going through this, and this is a real physical thing that's accelerating us at the atomic level. So the tiniest little act of kindness is amplified. The tiniest little I can do that is magnified. Everything is exaggerated, and all you need to do is set your sails, set your focus to the love and the light, and everything will shine and open up at way beyond what you think you're capable of. It really is an amplified time. You just need to align with the flow and get your surfboard out there and can ride the wave because it's happening.
Tune that dial to love, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I love that encouragement. Thank you. This is a time of amplification. Do it now, like when you have that extra on your side, right? That's amplified. Oh my gosh, all three of you, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone. You guys, this is way more than a book, if you haven't guessed already. This is a generous community. Maybe you heard something today and you can't wait to carry on that conversation, or maybe you have a question, or maybe you really need support. Drop down into the show notes where all of the authors are hooked up with their websites. They're ready and waiting for you to reach out. Sometimes that's the scariest thing, is to reach out for that help. But this community does way more than write chapters in the book for you. They're waiting for you to reach out with that question. Explore their offerings. These are amazing, amazing people. You can also come and help us celebrate the book launch at our book launch party. I've got some information down below. That's going to be on March 7th. So if you're listening to this interview before then, please come on down for the Zoom information, come to the party, meet all the co-authors and our lead authors. And we hope you get over to Amazon and buy the book today. Get your copy of We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For. This is the third book in the Shaman Heart series. May just change your life. Lastly, today, everyone, remember your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.